The show is over. How do you feel?
There's no easy answer to that one. I'm happy I'm happy that I feel like we landed the plane. You never know, and you spend this much time with these characters and on this show, and you don't want to mess up the ending, and I'm really happy with how it came out. So, yeah, I'm relieved about that. Sad to say goodbye to the team, because it's like any job anyone has. It's the people you work with, and from the crew to the cast to everybody else, this has been it's been an experience, and just being a little part of the Jurassic universe has been pretty cool. So yeah, it's a mixture of emotions, I think I would say.
Season 5 brought a lot to the table, and it finally brings an end to the campus journey. What was your favorite part of this season?
Favorite part? Well, there was a lot of it, to pull off that epic battle between the dinosaurs, just from a production and effects standpoint, the job the team did on that was amazing. We've been talking internally in the writers' room since season 1 or 2 about building towards the as we've called it, the battle for Kenji's soul. So I was glad we've been talking about that for years. So it's nice to get that up on the screen. I love the Yaz and Sammy relationship, which is, again, it wasn't a story that we initially set out to tell, but as early as season 1, it was like, well, it's a writery answer, but this is where the characters are leading us. That just felt right. And so, whatever kind of inclusion we can put up on the screen, I think is great. But it has to make sense within the story, and I think it does. So I really love how that was handled by the writers and the artists and Kosser and Rainey. So yeah, I like there's a lot about this season that I really like, and getting into the heart of these characters. That's where the show begins and ends. There's dinosaurs, as you know, but it's all about, from the beginning, it's all, if you don't have these characters to root for, you can put all the dinosaurs on the screen as you want, but you're not going to get something truly compelling. And so that's where the show begins and ends, and I'm happy where we got to.
The relationships between Kenji and Brooklyn and Yaz and Sammy, were they plans from the beginning, or is that something that, as you spent more time with the characters, they developed, and kind of gave us your answer there?
Yeah, and it's the same with Kenji and Brooklyn, and we ended up having to. Netflix wanted longer seasons, so as far as the Kenji and Brooklyn of it all, I know some people felt like it came out of nowhere. So originally, those last 2 episodes of season 3, with Brooklyn getting captured by the mercenaries, that was originally the top of season 4. And I think if you watch those episodes together, for those who weren't feeling the Kenji and Brooklyn of it all, I think the progression makes a lot more sense. But to answer your question, it wasn't initially planned, but the seeds for both of those were, as we were writing season 1, you always have, you start in with the plan of, here's our characters, you're pitching the show or whatever it is. But you don't really know who these characters are until you get into writing the scripts and the artist putting them on screen, and you see them animated. So as we started going with it, both of these relationships sort of presented themselves to us as a writing team and as a crew, and it made sense. We almost went to it in season 2, but then decided, I think wisely, to kind of slow play both of them, because obviously we have a lot of ground to cover with the evolution of all these characters.
I just wanted to note that something that I really appreciated and was surprised about is when the Yaz and Sammy relationship was not left to be ambiguous. I think that that's something that's really important to actually develop in full, and I think that's going to be something that's going to be really special to a lot of viewers. So I think a lot of people see it coming, but I think it's also going to be a surprise for a lot of people. And I think the surprise might be just that the show treats it as not as some sort of taboo thing, and the show didn't, dance around it, and it handles it beautifully. And I just want to kind of say that it was really well done.
Well, I appreciate that. And, we didn't want to mess that up. So, we had an advisor from GLAAD. We wanted to look, that's our world, whether or not it's been put on TV or in cartoons that much before, but that's who people are. We're trying to, illuminate parts of humanity. And, and as a person who's been in kids TV for a long time, you always want, whether it's our diverse cast, whether it's race or gender or sexual orientation, but we just want to put real characters up there so people can see a little bit of themselves in more than one of them. So, diversity, inclusion, it's all so important. And it's also so important for kids. It was an important story, that we wanted to put out there because it ain't taboo. It's who we are as people. So that's how we wanted to treat it. Well, and I really want to call out a couple of our writers, Bethany Armstrong Johnson and Rick Williams, who did that first episode where Yaz is sort of confessing her feelings to Ben. There was a time we weren't like, do we have enough runway to tell this story? We got a lot of stuff to get to. And really, Bethany just never let that torch go out. And I'm so grateful that she didn't. And I really love what got put on the screen there. You got to have these real characters who you're rooting for, but there's also all these dinosaurs and a story that you're trying to tell as well. So it's a tricky balance trying to find those moments. I mean, we spent the first 3 seasons basically running for our lives. So we have those moments to breathe in these last couple seasons, so we can kind of get more into that kind of thing.
Was Dodgson always part of the show? And how much time did you have access to Jurassic World Dominion to sort of match the characterization?
Well, I think once, like I may have told you guys, like Colin Trevorrow is always in our writer's room, whether virtually or in person, as we break a season. And I can't remember which, it may have been going into season 4, he was writing Dominion. And I think that's when he was very open and generous with his time, and also with what's going to happen. So I think once we knew Dodgson was going to be a major player, then we thought, okay, well, this makes sense. Part of the fun of this show is tying where we can tie in to the films. But our one rule, the other EP, Aaron Hammersley, and I always had, is we never wanted to feel shoehorned in. Like, it had to make sense. So once we found out Dodgson was gonna be a player, it's like, okay, well, here's a great way to bring it into Biosyn, and as far as, we didn't have much to go on, because when we started writing it, I don't even think Campbell Scott had filmed his scenes yet. So what my memory is, we had one wardrobe test photo of Campbell Scott in his Dodgson outfit, and Colin's character description given to us verbally, and that's what we had. And we knew what Campbell Scott sounded like. To cast an actor, I think he was too busy to do it himself, making a movie. So we luckily it matches up pretty good with what we ended up seeing in Dominion. So that was a challenge, but yeah, once we found out Dodgson was going to be a player, it made sense for us to dovetail it with Biosyn.
Yeah, and that was a really good introduction. There wasn't too much Dodgson, but it was enough, and you can kind of see how the character would have developed from that to what we saw in Dominion.
Well, yeah, and and as a fanboy, to see the Barbasol can in the movie, know they found that on our little TV show. Like that was pretty cool moment.
The story definitely takes a turn towards unique sci-fi in seasons 4 and 5. What was the inspiration for that?
Well, there's a couple. One is we've just spent 26 episodes of kids running from dinosaurs on a jungle island. And, you know, you can only really do it for so long. Like, and I love those seasons. And so we definitely needed to introduce a new kind of threat. Now, part of the, you know, and it leans way, if you look at Michael Crichton's other work, where we kind of mind, we always look back to, Michael Crichton and Steven Spielberg as far as inspirations for everything. Part of it on a very practical level, we can only make a certain amount of characters. And if you're making, we can't have 100 extras. We can't, put like, so if you make a robot, you can duplicate that robot. And, I hate to just on a sheer production level, you have to make choices to do things like that just to, we needed a new threat out there. And then, like I said, at the time, it was like, oh, I don't know. And then right around that time, someone showed me the video of some stuff that Boston Dynamics was doing. And it's like, maybe this isn't as crazy as I think it is. So we wanted to take it in a different direction on one hand, and another, just a sheer production way to go is we needed a way to introduce a threat which was still producible for television.
I mean, the characters are obviously the most important thing, and the epilogue we both loved. How excited are you to see fans react to that scene?
Real excited. I think I said, like, that last shot with Darius, was the shot that I had in my head when I took the job back in 2018. I didn't know how we were going to get there because I knew our show took place during Jurassic World, and that's right when Fallen Kingdom had come out. But it was it was a great way to just kind of check in to see after everything we put, because there were talks like you kick around ideas in the writers' room, like, well, maybe they don't get off the island. But after everything we put these kids through in 5 seasons, when we really got down to it, it's like we wanted to give these kids a happy ending because, God knows we put them through it enough up till now. So that was important for us. We wanted it to be like, okay, we got our happy ending.
And on that note, the New Blast 6 kind of does sound like a show title.
Yeah, well, I don't know what the future holds. This is definitely the end of this chapter, but definitely grown to love these characters over the years. So we'll see what the future holds. I'm one small part of this amazing team of writers and artists and production people and the cast and everyone. But yeah, we worked hard on it. And like I said before, I think we landed the plane. I'm really happy how it came out, and hearing that. I'm glad. I hope everyone has your reaction to it because I'm really proud of it, and I really like it.
Yeah, that ending just felt very special. It was a very fun ride, and kind of hopeful curious to see what comes next.
Well, we'll find out together.